What's going on, guys? So Brett Baier and Trump did an interview, very comprehensive interview. They talked about a lot of topics. One of the topics that we're going to discuss today was about the 2020 election. Donald Trump insisting that the 2020 election was stolen. Brett Baier insisting that everything's been totally debunked, that it's disproven, and Trump is wrong. And you're going to see this exchange. We're going to break it down. And let's get into the video.
But what do you say to the voter who really liked many of your policies?
They still do.
But they can't handle the scandals or the controversies or the name-calling or the vitriol. What do you say to that voter who's worried that that all leads to a general election loss?
So based on the polls, I'm leading Biden by a lot. Based on the polls, I'm leading all of the Republicans by a lot, by 40 points and more. Right now, I have the best polls I've ever had. People see this stuff for what it is. It's a political witch hunt. It's a continuation.
More independent voters watch Fox News than any other TV source.
A lot less than used to watch it.
They do watch. Those voters
But a lot less, Brett.
they usually make up all the difference in the election. And so to the female independent voter in the suburbs who struggled with family financing because of inflation, she's now against Biden, disapproves of Biden, but wasn't with you in 2020 and so far is a hard no for you in 2024. But what do you say
You're
to
not
that?
looking at the right polls.
What do you say to that female independent suburban voter who feels that way, to win her back?
First of all, I won in 2020 by a lot, okay? Let's get that straight. I won in 2020.
You know that this,
and if you look at all
that's
of the
not
tapes,
what
if
the
you look
vote
at
showed.
everything that you want to look at, you take a look at Truth to Vote, where they have people stuffing the ballot boxes on tapes, or
Mr. President,
let's
that
go
was
to
all
recent.
looked
Well, wait
into.
a minute. Let's go to recent. FBI Twitter. Let's go to recent. The 51 agents, all corrupt stuff, Brett.
Understand about the Hunter Biden,
no, but
all
that's cheating
fair
on the
things.
election.
But
that's cheating on the election.
you lost the 2020 election.
Brett, you take a look at all of the stuffed ballots. You take a look at all of the things, including things like the 51 intelligence
There
agents.
were recounts in all of the swing states. There was not significant widespread
We're trying
fraud.
to get recounts, real
There were
recounts, not just numbers of
investigations,
votes
widespread
cast.
corruption. There was not a sense of that. There were lawsuits, more than 50 of them, by your lawyers, some in front of
Brett, are you
judges that you appointed.
Look at Wisconsin.
That came out with no evidence.
Wisconsin has practically admitted it was rigged. Other states are doing the same right now, and it's continuing.
There have been
It was
reviews
a
of
rigged
every
election.
potential case of voter fraud in 6 battleground states, and they found fewer than 475 cases.
You know why?
that
Because
were
they
not
didn't look
affected.
at the right things.
Okay,
Brett.
are you going
they
to
were
be
counting? They were counting ballots, not the authenticity of the ballot. The ballots were fake ballots. You had this
I
was
asked,
a very rigged
Are
election.
you going to go? This is how you're going to tell that independent suburban woman voter
No,
to vote for
we're
you?
off to winning an election, and I think we're winning very well. I got a poll just recently. I have it here.
No, I know, and I watched
But
the numbers.
I've shown you every poll. I showed you where we're leading by tremendous numbers, and
polls
we're
change.
leading with women, huh?
You know polls change. I mean, they changed in 2016 to your favor,
I thought I was doing well from the beginning, but you know.
but they changed the
Yeah.
polls.
So yeah, obviously, this clip was like played on repeat, on The View and on social media everywhere, and they just hammered Trump, for 36 hours or whatever, saying that he can't let the election go. Chris Christie is attacking him, saying that he's a baby, that he can't let this go. I do think that if the election was stolen, and I can't say whether I do think that or not, I think there's definitely some questions there. If the election was in fact stolen, I can understand why he doesn't want to let this go. The moment the American people lose their voice at the ballot box is the moment that democracy is dead. So if the election was stolen, that's a huge, huge deal. And that literally means our country is hanging in the balance. And I think that our country is hanging in the balance. And I think this is a super important election, not just because we can't handle 8 years of Biden. I mean, in 2 years, he's done so much damage. I honestly think this country will be burned to the ground by the time the 8 years comes up. But, if that was the case, it's important for him to not let that go, for him to continue to let people know how serious this is. But at the same point, I do think it's a little bit of a dead horse that's just being beating a dead horse. I think that there's a better way to go about it. I wouldn't lose any respect for Trump at all if he just came out and said the truth, which is that he did lose. Maybe not conventionally, depending on what you think, but he did lose the election one way or the other. And I think that if he just simply came out, if Brett would have asked him that question and he would have said, Brett, I'll tell you what, here's what I know. I know I can prove, and I know that the FBI and big tech colluded against me in the election. They censored conservatives. They censored the Hunter Biden laptop story. That had a huge impact on the election. I know that the election laws were changed at the last minute. I know that mail-in ballots were used. That's what I know, Brett. And what I can tell you is, at this point in time, I will admit that I did lose the election, but I lost the election unconventionally. I did not lose the election fairly. I lost it unfairly and unconventionally. I didn't lose because of the votes. I'll put it to you that way. I did not lose the election because of the votes. I lost it due to these other factors. So I will admit that I lost, but I will also also say this was a totally unfair election. The cards were stacked against me. We can prove that now. And depending on your definition of rigged, some will say it's rigged and some won't. But I will say that I did lose the unfair election. And then just move forward. And then, move on. And I think that would better serve his campaign. I think that would be a better message to send. Because it just would stop, the dead horse from being beaten. But I can understand why he doesn't do that. I think he would be able to reach a little bit more people if he did that. So, anyways, we'll see you on the next one.